Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy. I'm back with another video. Bringing you a actual deck profile with the new Vegeta leader from set 15. That's going to be coming out soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Just want to bring you guys a deck profile, some sideboard options, and a small discussion what I think about the deck and the leader overall. Make sure if you're watching the video and you haven't subscribed to your boy, just go ahead and make sure and go ahead and knock that out right now. Also, leave a like down below and a comment as well. And let me know if you think Vegeta is going to make a splash in the meta or if he's going to fizzle out. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this video. All right, so you see we got up on the screen using DBS deck, playing it right now. I wish the text was a little bit bigger, but I do have another screen set up so I can see the text just a little bit better for the reveals. So we're going to go ahead and go over leader. On the front side, it has an auto once per turn. If it's your opponent's turn, when one of your battle cards is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill, your opponent chooses one card in their hand and discards it. And then it also has a activate battle once per turn. If your life is less than or equal to your opponent's, this card gets 5,000 power for the battle. And then awaken when your life is at 3 or less, or your opponent's leader card's back is facing up. You may draw 2 cards, choose up to one of your opponent's Unison cards, and remove a marker from it. Then flip this card over. And then the back side is pretty much the same form. He has an auto. When this card attacks, choose up to one of your opponent's Unison cards and remove a marker from it. Additionally, if your opponent doesn't have a Unison card in play, choose up to one green Great Ape card in your battle area, switch it to active mode, and negate its skills for the turn. And then it has an auto once per turn. If it's your opponent's turn, when one of your battle cards is removed from the battle area by an opponent's skill, draw 1 card, and your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and discards it. Okay, so the leader, I feel like the leader is definitely going to be a mid-range leader. It has small elements of hand control, but I feel like in order to get the most out of your leader's effect, your opponent has to remove your battle cards by skills, right? So I think that the effect of removing from skills is pretty lackluster. Chances are your opponent is just going to play around that effect to a degree. I feel like if the deck had bigger options of like cards that were just threatening and your opponent felt like they had to remove these cards, then maybe the effect would be better. But I think the shell of the deck is really what's gonna make or break the leader. So we'll just go ahead and get into that right now. So we got 2 Vegeta's Powerball. Field spell has a permanent. If a leader card is a green Saiyan, you may activate this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. And then it has a once per turn auto. Pay 1. When one of your non-great Ape Saiyan cards is KO'd by an attack, you may choose a Great Ape card that includes the color and character name of the KO'd card and an energy cost of 4 in your deck. Play it in rest mode, then shuffle your deck. And it has another auto at the end of the turn. Choose up to one Great Ape card in your battle area and switch it to active mode. So the filter's not bad. Only costs 1. And I like the fact that the auto is by being KO'd by an attack. So, of course, you're setting up blockers, things like that. It has to be a non-grade ape. So, you know, your early on blockers will definitely fuel this. And luckily, with this field spell being to be played for free, if you're playing a green Saiyan, you'll have that. You can have that mana. You'll have the energy up, but it's only really factored in on like turn 2 and forward. So playing a blocker on turn 1 probably won't be the best for this deck. But it does filter, searching for a great ape that matches the color and character name. Only thing I don't like about it really is the restriction to only 4. If it was 4 or less, it'll be a little more flexible for some of the cards we're going to show in the list. All right, so we're going to be running that as a 2 of. We have the super combo running as a 4 of. It has a permanent. The card can be played from skills from any area. If your leader card is green, your life is at 4 or less. When this card is used in the combo, draw a card. And it has another auto. If your leader is mono green, when this card is played, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and discards it. So I feel like this is one of the cards that you might get a good bit of value from. Even if early on in the game they want to pop this guy, cool, you still got value. Just from playing it alone, you rip the card from their hand, and then if they felt like it was going to be an issue, because no one wants to run against super combos later on in the game and you're drawing a card. So your opponent might pop this guy, and then given the option of ripping another card from their hand. So we're running this as a 4 of right now. Running the 1-drop Vegeta Elite Resolve. It has unique and a permanent. If you have a field spell in play, this card gains blocker. So it'd be a unique blocker, 4K. When this card is played from your hand, choose 1. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Add up to 1 green Saiyan card with energy cost of 3 or less among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Or you can choose up to 1 Vegeta's Powerball in your deck, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to be probably using the first option for this. You want to go through your deck and pull out as many pieces that you can find, get them to your hand, and then go from there. Hopefully with the 2 of, most of the time you're just going to be mulling to try to find the Vegeta's Powerball. I don't think it's going to be, game breaking if you don't find the Powerball early on, but if it's just depending on the matchup, if you need the Powerball, then you can always use the effect of Vegeta's Elite Resolve. So we're running it as a 4 starting off. Now we have 3 Raditz requesting reinforcements. This one has blocker as well, so you can see the theme. A lot of these cards in here have blocker. Choose 1 card in your hand and discard it when this card is KO'd by an opponent's attack. Choose up to 1 red or green Vegeta or Napo card with energy cost of 1 from your deck. Send it to your warp, then shuffle your deck, then play that card from your warp at the end of your next turn. So it has blocker. It gives you the option of, filter your hand, and then get a Vegeta or a Napo energy cost of 1 from your deck and warping it, and then playing it at the end of your next turn. The card is so. Put it in here just for options to be able to find with the 1 Vegeta Elite Resolve. I don't think it's a card that's honestly going to gain a lot of value unless you splash the red, but we're going to be going more of the mono green route with this build starting off. All right, we have 4 of the 4-drop grade 8 Vegetas. It has blocker and a limit 1. And this card says 1 of your green non-grade 8 Vegeta cards with blockers removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill. You may play this card from your hand, so it still costs a green. The field spell basically does, the same thing for you. Auto once a turn, when this card attacks, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. And then it has a activate main for 2 green. If a player has a field extra card in their battle area, play this card from your hand. So this card has many ways that it can be played, which makes the card decent. You definitely want to run this as a 4 in the deck. It is a 20k body with blocker. And then when this card attacks, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and discards it. Now, I feel like this plays very well into what Vegeta wants to do. I feel like the deck needs more of this. This card is not overly threatening, but it does enough with it being a 20k body. So you're going to have to waste resources, basically discarding resources in order to combo through it. Has blocker, and with Powerball, Vegeta's Powerball up, at the end of your turn, it restands for blocker. So this card is definitely what this deck needs more of. So definitely going to be trying this at a 4. And I think in most builds, this will probably stay at 4. All right. We're going to go ahead to the Unison King Vegeta 3-drop. It has counterattack, Spirit Boost 1, play this card with 3 markers on it. Permanent during your opponent's turn. If a grade 8 card is in play in your battle area, reduce the specified cost of this card in your hand by 1 green. Then it has a +1 activate main. Choose up the 1 card in your opponent's hand or one of the battle cards ignoring barrier and place it in the drop. And then it has a -X effect to activate main for each marker you remove using this skill. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Now, I like having the permanent is okay. If you have a grade 8 in play, so maybe the 4-drop having a grade 8 in play, you'll have defenses up and it reduces the cost of this card being played. So to make it a 2 cost with 3 markers on it, can't really beat that. The +1 is amazing. You get to choose a card from their hand or a battle card ignoring barrier and place it in their drop. So this gets over KO effects because it doesn't say KO the card when you target the battle card, but you're just placing the card in the drop. I think this effect is amazing, and it's a 19k, and it's a counterattack. So hey, can't really beat that. So running it as a 4 of, if you have the option, get the SPRs because the SR version looks fairly bad. So don't get that. So running 4 of those. All right. So next we are running 4 of the 3-drop Sun Gohan Simeon Revenge. Has blocker Revenge, has limit 1. When one of your green or grade 8 non-Gohan youth cards with blocker is removed from the barrier area by an opponent's skill, you may play this card from your hand. So you can basically play this guy for 1 if a non-grade 8 Sun Gohan youth with blockers removed from the barrier area by an opponent's skill. It sucks because the value of blocker in this deck is on the fence because you want your cards to be removed by skills. But your opponent's going to be playing around a lot of these guys. They're just either going to, wait for you to, they're just going to blow things up, KO them, which I guess in turn, it is removed from the battle area by an opponent's skill. As long as it's skills, it's fine. But what's the point of having blockers on board whenever they're just gonna die? Like they swing with a big body, you activate blocker, and then it dies. You don't get the autos. So it needs more of the grade 8 Vegeta 4-drops. But we're gonna go ahead and get to the rest of the deck. Card's decent, running it at 3. Running 2 Napo the Eliminator. So some of this tech in the deck, which is a mid-range deck, I wanted to try to get more value out of the cards that are in here, and I opted to go with crit, right? So it's 2-drop Napo. For crit, if you lead a card is a Vegeta or a Napo card, when this card is placed from your hand, when this card is played from your hand, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. So playing it for 2, and it has crit. When it's played, your opponent rips a card from their hand. I don't think that's bad. It is a 15k with crit, so early game is not bad. So we're trying that as a 2 of right now on the list. Then we got 2-drop Vegeta preparing to invade, as unique and blocker, has a permanent. If a green field extra card is in your battle area, you can play this card from your hand without paying its energy cost. Just another blocker, 5k blocker. Nothing to really like ooh and ah at, but it's another option. So running that as a 3 of in the list. Running Sun Gohan confronting evasion. Running as a 4 with blocker. If your leader card is a green Saiyan card, when this card is KO'd by an opponent's attack, choose up to 1 of your opponent's Unison cards, remove a marker from it, and add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. So running as a 4, basically to supplement the 4-drop Sun Gohan. Whenever you block, luckily this effect works because if it dies by an attack, it's KO'd by an opponent's attack. You get to remove a marker from Unison, and you can take up to 1 life. and add it to your hand, which will help with self-awakening. So we're trying it as a 4, and that's going to supplement the Sun Gohan Simian Revenge. Running 3 Dormant. Everyone knows what Dormant does. It's just going to be our floodgate, negate, and you know, ditching a card to stop your opponent from wrecking your face isn't bad. So we're going to just run it as a 3 of. Running 3 Frieza charismatic villain. You know, late game run it as a 3 of. Definitely a great counterplay option. Everyone knows what it does. 9 times out of 10 green decks are running this card. Okay, so we're running 2 surprise attack Frieza. Auto, you can activate this skill when your opponent's battle card is KO'd. You can play this guy from your hand. It's 15k crit. Once again, it's on theme of value. Want to get as much value as you can. Since you're slowly ripping cards from your opponent's hands, you don't really want to be swinging and giving them cards back from life, because life is a resource in this game. So you're running as a 2 of, so that can trigger off of Dormant, off of Frieza. And if you swing into one of their battle cards, then you KO it. So definitely like that as a 2 of. Now, there's some sweet little tech stuff, right? Because the deck, it's mid-range, right? And it, you know, if there's options, you know, if your opponent plays into the weird option of removing your guys with their skills, then of course, you know, you'll mill cards from their hand. But if you don't, we're gonna run 3 Ribrians. We're running 3 Ribrians, 1 because A, it's combo power for 5. You can ditch it to Dormant. You can ditch it to the 1-drop Raditz as well and get value from it. And then later on in the game, you can pay 2 green and rip 2 cards from your hand. So definitely not a bad option. This is more of a tech option, if anything. But I think with how the deck is built and what the deck wants to do, Rebrand is definitely a good option for the deck. Running 2 apes. If your opponent's smart, you will not draw a lot of cards with this deck at all. So it's good to have this as an option for combo power, to be able to pay 2, draw 2. I think this is something you're definitely going to need. Now, the SCR, I picked this one personally because this is one that I own. I don't own the Boo SCR, but I still don't think this guy is bad. Right, so if you lead a card as mono green and you remove this card from your combo area from the game, when this card is used in a combo, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore and bury it, and KO it. Now, I like the flexibility of this guy because, one, you can, if your opponent tries to go all in, just say you're at 2 life, everyone expects Champa Supreme Kai, right? I do. You can remove that guy, that battle card from the game. If you combo with this guy and remove it from the game. So I think it's pretty cheeky. Most people are probably going to go the Kai SCR, the green one, still a Unison, stop the turn, which the card is great. It's fantastic. If I had it, I would run it. Then this guy has an activate main for 5 green. You can play this guy from your hand and give a dual attack and triple strike. Now, if you depends on the matchup, depends on your locals. I would personally love to play this guy for 5 and it just kill someone, but you know the odds of it are very slim. But if the opportunity presents itself, go for it. All right, so this is subjective. This is, you can choose ape, you can choose the green Kai. You have other options for it. All right. Now we're running 1 FDC. Who doesn't run FDC? Who's not afraid of good old FDC, Further Destruction Champa? Putting double strike on, you know, a surprise attack Frieza or a Napo. You know, it can get a little scary if you know if you've been ripping their hand slowly but surely, and you hit them with a Further Destruction Champa on top of a one of your crit boys. So not a bad option. And we're running 1 Dark Toa. With Overwhelm. When you play this card, use Overwhelm. If leader card is green or yellow, choose one of your leader cards and it gains 5k power for the duration of the turn, and your opponent chooses one card from their hand and places in their draw. So this is another option, just mainly using it just for the hand disruption, ripping a card out of their hand. So it's not bad. And then we have one Son Goku Spirit Bomb Unleashed, has limit 1 activate main. If you have 3 or more energy and a Unison card in play, play this card from your hand. If you do, choose up to one of your opponent's Unison cards to remove a marker from it. And then he also has the activate main of Spirit Boost X green Unison card. This card gets 5k power for the turn for each marker you remove from your Unison card. With this skill, if you remove 2 or more markers, this card gains double strike for the turn. So it's just a good little cheeky one of, once again, potentially giving it double strike for the turn is a pretty good, and 5k for each marker that's removed. So this can basically be a blowout turn if you're ripping their hand with the Vegeta late game and you drop this guy down for 1 green. Definitely could be a bomb for you. So running it as a one of. Now, going through that, just the deck overall, we're going to go through some of the sideboard options that we had that I chose for it. So sideboard option that we have, I chose Secret ID, just for board wipe late game, just depending on how matchups go. I think Secret ID is a great option still right now between wiping tokens, little guys on board. If aggro mid-range kind of makes its return back to the game. So definitely a good option to have in the deck. Deborah Ritual Hand, Cell Surge, basically pretty much. Maybe the Mirror. So Dark Broly, things like that. Definitely a good tech option. And then we have Dark Broly. I feel like this deck is very flexible from what you can play. Dark Broly is nasty. Like, there's nothing else to say about this guy. Double strike, the markers removed from this card by a skill. Your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and discards it, and then has a +2. You may choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. If you do, your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand, discards it, then chooses 1 of their battle cards and KOs it. And then it has a +0. Lead card is green. Choose one of your opponent's Unison cards and remove a marker from it. So I feel that the +2 is going to be the more viable option with this guy, mainly because it has double strike. It's 20k. I would personally use this card to swing at Unisons and nothing else. Just getting 2 hits on them can cripple blue, Boo Unison, in any Unison really. This is what I would use this guy to do. The +2 effect is really good too, because you may choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. That feeds your Saiyan Instincts, that feeds your Ribrians. So I think those are definitely viable options for that +2 effect. So that could be an option for the side or for main. Just all depends on how you want to build it. Fu, who doesn't like Fu? Fu will make you upset. Overwhelm 10 for 6, double strike, negate skills. Your opponent can activate skills on cards other than leader cards to the beginning of my next turn. So, and it's 30k. Nothing really to say about Fu. Fu definitely can close the game out. Homicidal Clones, just put some options of counterplay. If you need help sparking, things like that. If you're a 5 or less life and you're trying to spark, you pop 1 of your life to your hand and then put a blocker token on board. So definitely a solid option. Blue Impulse, mainly for the Arrival decks. We got a good bit of Arrival coming out with the new set as well. Blue-Yellow Arrival stuff. As long as you have a Unison in play, it reduces the cost by 1 in your hand, so it'd be a 1-drop. So definitely a good card if you're trying to, push pressure, things like that. And if they rival a guy in, then this is definitely a good option to wipe their board. Then we have SS Bardock, turn Unison, and all these options are sideboard options and options for the main board. All just depend on how you want to attempt to build a deck. Auto when your opponent combos, you may place one card from the combo area in his owner's drop area if you do negate the skill for the turn, which that auto is great. Definitely destroys a rival. Has a +1 activate main. You may choose one of your green battle cards and you cost a 1 and KO it. If you do, your opponent chooses one card from their hand and discards it. Now this the +1 is counterproductive against like the 1-drop blockers, the Gohans, the Vegetas, things like that. But just depending on the matchup, like if you want more consistent hand destruction from your deck, this could be a viable option as well. So I would definitely think about it. And then the -3 activate main, this card gets 5k and triple attack for the turn. So it'd be a 20k triple attacker at your opponent. Sales Earth Shrunk Kamehameha. Activate battle, give 15k to a leader of battle card. And if all your energy is green, choose one card in your opponent's hand is placed in the drop. This is a good 1-drop card that helps push pressure as well, and it goes towards the hand destruction route. All depends on how you want to go. Napo on guard has blocker switches called the rest mode. When your opponent uses a skill to play a battle card with the energy cost greater than their current energy, they choose one card in their hand or one of their battle cards and place it in the owner's drop. So this card can be iffy. It does have blocker. Does have the option when they use a skill to play a battle card greater than. So it's going to be more arrival. Overwhelm decks, particularly, usually our energy cost is higher than their energy. They can either ditch a card from their hand or choose one of their battle cards and place it in their drop. So I think Napo is a decent option as well. You can look at definitely for the sideboard. You have Sorrowful Strike 10 Shinhan. This is a card that I've looked at a while here and there when I played green. When you come with this card and your leader card is green, you may choose one card from your hand, place it in a drop. If you do, choose up to 3 battle cards with energy cost of 3 or more and power of 35k or less in your drop. Place them at the bottom of your deck in any order, or you can choose one battle card in your opponent's drop, return to your opponent's deck, then your opponent shuffles their deck. So chances are, depending on if you're playing like the long game or you need certain things back into the deck, you will use this effect to basically put cards back. The one plus about getting rid of this guy as a combo as well, you can ditch any card from your hand for the effect. So once again, rebrand, Saiyan Instincts, cards that you just don't need, but those are like the targets that you would want to have in hand to get the most value out of. All right, Floodgate, another one, Majin Buu. Basically just Floodgate, negate, just basically topo, ditch a card, and your opponent can attack for turn unless they choose 2 cards in their hand, discarding each time. So just another Floodgate. Now, we're looking at Tactical Victory Vegeta. This was an option one of my buddies linked to me in our chat early in the week. When you play this card, choose one field spell in your opponent's battle area and place it in the owner's drop. So if you're running against like the Mirror, this would be great against King Cold. I think this deck would be a star in the side, just depending on how the meta shapes itself. But I would definitely, just depending on your meta and your locals, look at this card if you haven't. This is from Clash of Fates. Look at this card as an option for the sideboard. I definitely think it could do some things. We got one Meta Cooler, Unison, activate main, lead cards mono green. You can play Meta Cooler token, and it has a +1. Choose one card from your hand, discard. If you do, draw 2, which would be great to help filter digging for cards such as, you know, you did your apes, dip your rib brands. and drawing 2 cards, and it has a -4, play 3 Metacooler tokens. Now with this, I really like this option as well, mainly because it has an activate main to play a token. The token is a 15k body, and it has 5k combo power. So all depends on the matchup, the pace of the game. You can use it for pressure, or you can use it defensively. So definitely a good option as well. We have SS3 Napo Golden Invader, which is one of the newer Unisons that's dropping. He has a +1, activate main, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends it to his warp. -2, activate main, choose up 2 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than or equal to their current energy and KO them. And then activate main for 4, so 2 and 2 green. If your leader card is a Napo card or a green Saiyan card, choose up to 1 red-green multicolor Raditz with an original energy cost of 8 in your hand and play them. Now, this -3 will never touch that in this deck because we are running basically mono green. The +1 is amazing because they have to warp the card. It's not going to the drop. So once that card's gone, unless they're running like, you know, SS4, Son Goku, the black leader, you know, the effect is definitely great for that +1. Even the -2 is okay. Chances are I would always be +1 in this guy, and he is a 20k body. So he's nothing to scoff at if you want to push for damage for 20k, things like that. So that's a good option. And then one other option that we have, when you play this card, draw a card, and you can activate main for 2 green. This card gets +15k power and crit for the duration of the turn. Once again, if you want to put more crit pressure on some of these control decks that are out here, I always feel like crit is the way to go. If you're going to play against a control deck, chances are they're not going to be playing a lot of battle cards, things like that, and you don't want to give them any cards out of their life to their hand. So that's another option as well. But anyways, I feel like the deck is missing something. Overall, I feel like it's missing maybe a boss monster or 2, like a boss monster that correlates with the leader. The leader effect to me is real lackluster. I just don't I don't see it being great. Maybe it's gonna take someone else that's like innovative and like is locked into this leader alone to find something that breaks it. Maybe it needs the splash of a second color to make it maybe feel stronger, but it's hard to say. I feel like the kill potential of the deck is not there in quite the way that you want it to. That's mainly why I put the surprise attack freezes and trying the Napo at 2. Other than that, it's hard to say what the deck is going to do. I mean, if you come across someone that's smart and they play around your effects of like popping your battle cards and things like that, I think it'd be a very hard time for the deck. All the blockers are cool, but that's it. Like if you're having the block to save yourself, you're not getting really any value because none of these cards except for the 1-drop Son Gohan gives you any type of real profit from when the card is KO'd, because you want your cards to be removed by opponent's skill. But like I said, I really don't know where it's gonna go. I'm figuring it's either gonna have to be a second color, or they'll have to print some more support somewhere down the line to make this deck feel more consistent. I do like the archetype. I just wish it was by your guys being KO'd. But then, playing devil's advocate, if the once per turn was by your battle cards being KO'd, I think the leader would be snapped because you would just block all day. Your guys would die by combat, especially this Gohan. So if it was by KO effect, you remove a mark from a Unison, you can add a card from your life to your hand, and then trigger your auto, they drop a card from their hand. So I think they were on the right track with the deck, but it needed more printed support to supplement Vegeta. There's just not enough. The value of the auto just isn't enough, in my opinion. I hope someone breaks this deck. Someone finds something consistent with this deck, and does more with it. I feel what they're gonna have to do, and just in my opinion, it's gonna have to be red green. It's gonna run value cards. So it's gonna run the 2-drop red green Piccolo, double strike, alliance, things like that. Just because that card puts you in a situation, because it has double strike, 16k, has alliance, pops one of your opponent's lives. You have to deal with that card. Either you have to swing into it, or you're going to have to find a way to remove from the board. So I think that would probably be a version of the deck. Or, honestly, if I was to build this deck over, I don't think I would run any of this stuff. A lot of this stuff would be taken out, and I would put straight value in this deck. It would be good cards deck. That's it. Maybe that's something I will work on, is a list with this guy, and just put cards in it, battle cards that are so valuable, you have no choice either to swing into them or you have to remove them. And then if you do, then see if this auto would get more value out of it. Because that's the one good thing that I've noticed about this leader. It is not locked to Saiyan cards. So we'd have to see. I might do some dabbling on my own as well. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some theory crafting myself with this leader, because I don't feel like the leader is bad. I feel like the support for the deck is bad. So we'll see how it goes. So thanks for watching the video. I want to give a shout out to Vegeta Saiyan Army. Man, they shared one of my videos in the page. Kind of made me feel good, because I'm new to the content creating in the DBS space. So it was definitely a good shout out for that. I hope the deck does well. I really do. I've always been a big fan of Saiyan Saga, so it's big hopes for this deck to do well. I just don't think the support is there, but I guess it's something that we'll have to see. Comment down below what you feel, how you feel about the deck. I'll make sure to leave the link to this deck list down below, so if anyone wants to test it out and how it feels for them, please let me know how it works out for you. Comment down below, like the video, subscribe to your boy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.